Welcome to Lead for Clarity, where we help you, your team, and your organization get to your next level. My name is Shandel Sutherland, and I am here with Melanie Montgomery. How are you today, Melanie?
I'm great. Thanks, Shonda. Always happy to be here with you.
It's so fun. And we have a very special guest that's very fun. And Melanie, she is one of I think she might be one of your favorites. So do you want to talk about who we have? We have Lydia today, but I want you to introduce her, please. Hi,
Yes,
Lydia.
absolutely. Thank you, Lydia, for being with us today. So Lydia is this amazing person and woman and matriarch that has taught me so much and has been helping me as I develop my coaching program and being one of my guinea pigs and helping me figure out what it's doing and if she likes it. And I've worked with Lydia a lot through Native Action Network, the nonprofit that I'm part of, and she has been just really evolving and growing in her leadership, and I've loved watching every second of it. And so I'm excited to have you here so that you can tell us more about your journey and what you're doing and all of the fun things. So, Lydia, do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, good afternoon, Shandel. Melanie, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here. My name is Lydia Faitalia. My people call me La Faitele. I have
Ooh.
indigenous roots to the South Pacific, specifically Tonga and Samoa. And it has been an honor to learn and grow from Melanie and Shandel. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
And I am mainly in direct services, but also on the Commission for Asian Pacific American Affairs, but also do a lot of work with Native Action Network, Emerge Washington. And so just a lot of community networking and dealings. So thank you for having me today.
Yeah, and you own your own business, right?
I do, Mel. I have a small business, general contracting. We've been up and running for 4.5 years. Thank you, Mel. Yep.
What do you do? What does your business look like? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah. So I own a construction business. So we frame and remodel single family residents across King County.
Mhm.
Um, we also donate to local nonprofits and for good causes, and we help support um, people who are looking to get into general contracting and move on into the union jobs. So
Oh,
that's
I
basically
love
what we
it.
do. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And give your little plug. What's the name of the company?
Modern Blueprint Construction LLC.
I love it. I love it. We'll put a little link to the website in our show notes. So Lydia, I'm really excited for you to share how and what you are learning as a leader as you increase your emotional intelligence. How is it helping you be a better leader, especially probably in the contract world, right?
Yeah.
Contractors, I should say.
Yes, thank you, Shandel, for that question. It impacts all of the realms that I'm in government, in general contracting, small businesses, and what I'm seeing is my improvement in communicating across these sectors, the importance of negotiations and regulating my emotions, but also like listening to really understand what the other person is asking and being intentional about the way I respond, but also what I've seen is the work is moving so much smoothly, Chandel, and the teamwork
Ooh.
beautifully. And I used to just ramble, but what I'm finding is with self-regulations and really diving into the disc and learning about myself, but also like watching for behaviors of of my colleagues or whoever I'm negotiating with, is that I am finding a common ground
Mm.
that we are shortening the time of meeting and not wasting as much time and progressing forward. So our goals are clear, our communications are clear, there's not as much conflict. And listening to understand. And so that's what I'm finding improvements in areas of my leadership. And there are more doors opening for not only myself, but for my network. So it's an honor to learn from Shandel and from Melanie. So thank you very much for that.
Wow, Melanie. Now, you've been coaching this beautiful woman, and what would you say from beginning to end how this has truly helped her? I can't wait to hear.
Oh goodness, that's so hard because, she invests so much time and energy into the prep work that she has. And every week she comes with a longer and longer list of wins that I love seeing. And that always makes me so happy, and really just taking a better look at where she is. And I'm going to maybe speak a little bit, you can tell me if I'm going too much, but she has been doing a lot of work on figuring out where her boundaries are and what's healthy for her and what she needs and what she doesn't need. I think as another fellow people pleaser, we definitely like to say yes way too much, and then we get overwhelmed. And really saying, this is my boundary, this is what I can and can't do, and this is what I need and don't need, and really figuring out how do we create balance. And I think that at the very beginning, Lydia wasn't the best at having the most balance, but she has made huge strides with just a little bit of awareness to say, how am I feeling? What does it look like? Is this serving me? And I remember that being a conversation, one of our first sessions of, is this serving me? And should I be doing it? And really figuring out what is meaningful. Because another thing that Lydia didn't mention is that she's right now working on her thesis. And so when she has that, what degree is it that you're working on? I can't remember.
My master's thesis is I'm working on at UCLA, in American Indian Studies specifically.
It's fantastic.
So she has so much on her plate that she's juggling. And so to figure out, like, where do I invest my time where it makes the most sense versus just being so busy all the time.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And Melanie, I love your fellow people pleasing, because I could join in on that party. And so boundaries is key. And I feel like that's what self-awareness does for us. Like, the first thing it does is it helps us understand and be aware that we are people pleasing, and that's not good. And we learn to feel it in our body. And that's something about self-awareness, is that we want to start learning it right in our body, so that we know, wow, I am stressed. Wow, my shoulders are stressed. My heart is beating. I am very tense. Like, it's silly, but so many of us, especially women, really suffer with that. And being that it is International Women's Week and Month, we should probably be preaching this louder, don't you think?
Yes.
So the regulation comes in, and this is what I heard you saying, Lydia. The self-regulation helps us say, like, I can't do all of this. Something needs to give. I have to stop something, or I'm not going to be able to have what it takes to invest in all of this. I can't do it all perfectly. And so what am I going to say yes to, and what am I going to say no to? And that has a lot to do with that regulation. Then we can move on to how we help other people. But I love that you ladies are really working on that first part. It's beautiful. Thank you. So it sounds like Lydia has grown so much in all that she's doing. How do you help Melanie? How do you help her get to her next level with all this going on? What kind of question would you want our audience to, like, if they could peek in on one of your coaching sessions? What might that next question be that you'd be asking Lydia?
Oh, I love asking Lydia questions because she gives me the most in-depth and thoughtful answers. Where really with anything we get out what we put in, and so she does the work. And so a lot of times that what we talk through is the why of why is it that you're doing what you're doing, and how does what we're doing impact the long run and what we want to achieve with our lives. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit of that. I know that was a very broad question, but you should be used to those by now from me. So
Yeah, great question, Melanie. So I've always been rooted in service. So the path to leadership, there's a quote that my elders would talk to me about, is they would remind me, the path to leadership is through service. What I didn't understand is I don't have to say yes to everything, like what Shandel mentioned, right? And so as I'm being coached by Melanie, I'm starting to understand where boundaries lie and where I'm more impactful. And when it's time to hand off the baton, And to be a great servant leader, you have to be ready and prepared to train up the next generation or the next colleague, and be okay with where you are at, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And I love what you said earlier, Shandel, is a lot of times us women carry so much and it's in our body and we don't realize it until we have that self-regulation. And that's something that training with Melanie and having her as a mentor has really helped me understand and shape my vision as a leader in moving into the next phase of leadership. Is that before I can take care of others, just like what you said, Shandel, I have to pour into my own cup and understand myself and where I'm at, so that way I can pour into the next generation's cup. So with that answer, Mel, with that question, I just like to get back to the basics of leadership, is that you must take care of yourself and make sure that I am ready, that you are ready to take on more task, and that you are mentally and physically and spiritually balanced to move the baton forward, or whatever it is that you're working on, forward to the next level. I
Yeah,
hope that answers your question.
oh yeah, and I love your forward vision. Everything is for the why and what's ahead and the next generation. And a little birdie told me that, are you also going to give birth here pretty soon? What? How are you pregnant and doing all these things? Please tell us how in the world you do this.
Shandel, I couldn't have done it without the coaching and training.
Yes,
and
that's what I want to hear.
Realistic. I had to let go of things that no longer serve me.
Yeah.
I had to look around the room and say, who is good at this? Who would be more willing, right? And start to hand off. It takes many of us to do this good work. And yes, I am due June 20th, but you know how women are. Us women, we love it. I love it. And I'm passionate about leadership. And so I'm going to keep going.
I love it. We need you out there. We need you. I love the pathway to leadership is service. That is so our hearts. And you are definitely, you just exude. For you who are not watching us on YouTube, you can see her exuding the passion for serving her people. And it's wonderful because a lot of times at Shandel Group, when we coach managers, one of the things that we say is, do you realize that your dinner conversation every night, and we let that sit for a minute, because how you treat your people, they go home and their family asks them what question? How was work today? Right? And depending on how we show up is how that dinner conversation is going to go. And I have a feeling that when your people ask you that question, they are filled with as much joy that is on your face that I see. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, Melanie, what do you desire for Lydia? What do you think Lydia's next step is in her growth and development that you can't wait to have her back on this podcast to tell us all about?
Yeah, well, I feel like Lydia in the last month, probably a month or 2-3 months, however long it's been, has been going through a big reckoning. I hope that's the right word, of really just saying, where am I? What do I need? What is for me? What is not? And making some big changes in her life that are really helping her to achieve her goals and take those steps. And I really hope to see in the near future some of those things really coming to fruition. I know that you want to finish your thesis. I know that you want to make more change back home and build different programs so that you can support the women of your home and really just make that difference that you were born to make. And I cannot wait to see you really do those things. And I think what we've been working through of how do we really spend our time where it's needed has been helping you take steps so that those things are so much closer. And that just makes me so excited. And right now you're going through our disc and driving forces course, and we had a long conversation today, Shandel, about what the different things are in the wheel and the graph. So she just have a deeper understanding of that disc and driving forces and how to use it. And I'm so excited for her to grasp that really, really well. She's learning it and she's already having a lot of great insights, but to be able to really use that to develop those deeper relationships and connections and communication and connect with more people on deeper levels.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Science of Self class. You love it?
I love it, Shandel. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's
I can't get
great.
enough of it.
Yeah, I want everyone to take that class because it just helps so much to get deep into the clarity report. And right now, Melanie and I are teaching the EQ portion. So when you get done with the disc and driving forces to that lab 1, we're going to move you right over into lab 2 and do the EQ one, which is really excited about. We have a great class right now.
Mm-hmm. And earlier, Lydia, we were talking about kind of like the magic behind understanding DISC and how much it can unlock doors, especially as it relates to understanding people. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? You had some great words to share.
Yeah. Oh, Shandel, I was telling Melanie this morning I had meetings starting at 8 o'clock back to back with some stakeholders regarding health policies. And I was telling Melanie that I sat back and just watched the folks and their ask and the negotiations, but also the clear communications and the goals were met. It was very intentional. We came out of that meeting actually accomplishing more than what I expected. And so my hats and gratitude off to the both of you for the training you are doing. This is important, and I hope everybody takes this leadership training.
I know. We do too. People always ask, like, well, what is your target audience? I'm like, anyone who wants to lead. Like, really, we can help anybody.
Yeah, I love that you talked about being present, because that's really what Lydia's been working on, is being present in all aspects of her life, as have I. And I'm so excited to see what that brings to you. One final question, if I can, to Lydia: why do we need leadership coaching?
Of course. Leadership training is for individuals who want to who want to improve their skill sets, their leadership skill sets, and move to the next level of leadership, who want to fully understand their team, who are looking to make an impact at their organization as we're shifting into what the new normal is. With the past 3 years of being in COVID, a lot of our leaders have been stressed and trying to adjust. As a leader, it is always important to focus on improving our skill set so that we can serve our communities and our organizations and colleagues in a better way. And I highly recommend for folks to take the Shandel Group training in leadership, because it has been impactful in my own leadership skills across government sector, nonprofit, and even within community, to help me improve my communication and get the feedback that is needed to move the work in a good way.
Wow. Lydia, you're an incredible communicator. I just love it. What a joy that you could join us today. Melanie, thank you for bringing her to the podcast. And we're going to land this plane, as we say. And I just wish you such an incredible time, these last trimester of your carrying that sweet baby, getting your thesis done, learning all these things, delegating everything so you can be so present with that little one, and also to take your team to the next level. I mean, I just think that you're an example for all women, and I just appreciate your intentionality. And we're just blessed to have you in our circle, is all I have to say. So you can subscribe to this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, we are so grateful that you have found us. If you're on podcast, we are on all your podcast streams. And we hope you'll check us out at shandelgroup.com. Be the best you can be, everybody.
Bye-bye.